Today I'm going to go through some tiger stripes with you and give you some techniques that will help you perfect them. So what I'm using is just a plastic sheet. You can get these stencils sheets anywhere. I got these from Kmart. I'm using a number 4 round brush, my water well, tub of water, or you can just get a glass of water, it doesn't matter, and your black FDA approved face paint for the line work that we're about to practice. To clean these stencils, we'll just grab a baby wipe and just clean it with a few wipes. And just wipe it off with any towel. This is a great tool to use just to practice your line work and your animal prints and tiger stripes and all sorts of cool things. I've just dipped my brush into the water right to the bottom of the Farrell, and I'm just going to load up some black here, and I'm going to work the bristles of my brush right through the paint so that I can achieve a really good creamy consistency. What I like to do is, as I'm lifting the brush off the paint, I'm going to twist. If you look at my fingers, I'm just going to twist the brush with my fingers upward, and that's going to create a good tip, a nice pointy tip to paint with. So tiger stripes start from thin to thick to thin again, and they go in all directions. I'll show you some examples here. So if you grab your brush and just ever so slightly place it onto the stencil and then work your way down. As we're going down, we're going to bring the brush down to the bottom of the Farrell, and then as we lift it up, we're going to continue going on track and then lift it up off the stencil. So again, very lightly bringing it down and then bringing it back up. So you can control the thickness of your brush strokes depending on how much pressure you put on your brush. Doing another one along here, straight line one, thin to thick to thin. Now with this one, you'll notice that I'm twisting my fingers like this as I'm bringing it up just to get maximum amount of paint onto that stencil. Soft, and bringing it right down to the Farrell. As I'm lifting up, I'm twisting my fingers and I'm controlling how thick it's going as it's on track as I'm lifting the brush up. And just another one, lifting it up. Tigers also sometimes have curved stripes. So if you're doing a design where you're wanting to have some simple straight stripes, you will jagger them. So you'll have 2 stripes here and you'll put one right over here. We can move the direction in which they are going, so we can curve the thin to thick to thin. So we can move them thin to thick to thin. And sometimes they meet. So from thin to thick to thin, and they'll meet right there in the middle. Another one, thin to thick. We can also change the direction as we're on the thick and our Farrell is pretty much touching the stencil. Changing the direction and bringing your stroke upward to release some pressure there. Again, thin to thick to thin. Thin to thick to thin. Now I was running out of paint there, so when you run out of paint, sometimes it's best to twist it up just to make sure you get the paint from all bristles of that brush. Bring these over, thin to thick to thin. So you could curve it as you're on the thick. Curve it as you're on the thick, or you could do a real straight curve. So thin to thick, curve it right over. So that's more of a, depends on where you're going. So if you have a small area and you're changing the direction of how your tiger stripes are traveling, you will want to do a sharp turn as your brush is right onto the stencil or the child's skin. But if it's a larger area that you're wanting to carry your stripes across, like a cheek, we'll do a nice smooth curve. Another great tip is contouring. So you want the tiger stripes to contour with the shape of the child's face. I will start with the top of the face on the forehead, and I will work my way right down from thin to thick. I'll change the direction and then I'll bring it in. And what I like to do is create a cluster of tiger stripes right up here on the forehead. A little bit further down from where we started, the first one, we'll go from thin to thick and then changing direction as we're down, then lifting the brush up and controlling it by lifting it up to make it a thin point. I'll have a focal point here from the top of where the nose starts to the bottom, and from the middle point there I will start from thin to thick, change the direction upwards. It's also effective to create some longer tiger stripes. So I've gone from thin to thick and then dragging that out for just a little bit more time before I pull my brush up. So again, from thin to thick and pulling it up. They're all going in the same direction. So the focal point is right down the bottom, and I'm right to the bottom right hand corner. So all of those tiger stripes will direct to that area in a gradual curve. So from thin to thick, pulling your brush right up. So pressure down and then lifting off and up. Really soft touch to the stencil, down and up. So soft, down, press down and lifting up. And then this one's going to go to that focal point, the bottom right hand corner. The longer the tiger stripe, the more control we obviously need to create it. So it gives us good practice on controlling our brush. I like to add some dots at the end of my stripes, just flowing in the same direction that they are going. Thanks for watching. If you got something out of this, make sure that you give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any face painting related questions or you need something that you need clarified, make sure you comment down below and I'll do my absolute best to share my knowledge with you in the next video. I'm on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. Don't forget to follow me so we don't miss each other for the next one. Until next time, happy painting!